Oye, mi gente, you're listening to the Red Lips Real Talk podcast,
where we talk about life, love, and everything in between.
You already know. It's time to get real.
Dale.
She set out on a cross-country adventure with her fiancé, chasing the freedom of her new van life. But what began as a dream ended in tragedy. In this episode, we're going to dive into the life and tragic death of Gabby Petito. We honor the bright spirit she was, an artist, a traveler, and a kind-hearted soul, and explore the stark contrast between what was portrayed on social media and the hidden reality behind her relationship with Brian Laundrie. So, ladies, did you watch the documentary?
I did.
I did. But I have something shocking to tell you, ladies.
Yes.
I really didn't know much about this case at all. I didn't even know that she died. I thought that she was still technically a missing person. I was so detached from this whole story. And, when you guys had said, hey, maybe we could do a podcast about Gabby Petito, I was like, I know nothing, Jon Snow,
Yeah, I remember watching it. I remember following it on the news.
I remember seeing bits
and all the new stuff coming on. And I'm like, oh my God.
I was like, what was happening to me during that time frame in my life that I was like so detached from this story? Because now I'm like, I think I follow things so like in depth. Mm-hmm. But at that time, I guess I was just overwhelmed with mom life and working. It was just, so I really didn't know much. So when you ladies told me to watch the documentary, I started watching them. It's 3 of them, right? Yeah. 3 episodes on, what's the name of the Netflix show again? What's it called?
American Murder, Gabby Petito.
American Murder, Gabby Petito. So I started watching it, and I'm going to tell you, for me, it was triggering because Gabby Petito could be my daughter.
Right.
My daughter's 21. Gabby Petito was 22. I saw so many similarities in her bubbly personality, which I really want to talk about that because let's also celebrate her life. It was a short life.
Yeah.
But in the 21 years that she was here, how deeply she was loved by her biological parents and her step-parents and her grandparents. How blessed was she to have been loved that much?
Yeah. And
the pain that those parents must have felt. And she was ahead of her time, doing the whole van life thing that not a lot of people were doing. And now they are. There's so many of them. And how she loved nature, and she was always giggling and smiling. And I just looked at her and I was like, oh, man, that could be my kid.
Yeah. They said she was very artistic.
Yeah.
That they showed a lot of her drawings on the documentary. They were really nice.
Yeah, her family's, they quoted that she was happy, kind, and loving. Mm-hmm. She wanted to see the world and share the joy with others.
Mm-hmm.
But she seemed like such a happy-go-lucky, loving person.
Right.
It was sad.
Well, I mean, she was a creative spirit. Mm-hmm. She loved travel and nature. And, honestly, like, wasn't she one of the first ones at that time that was doing the whole van life travel blog thing? Or was that already happening?
It's been a thing.
That was happening.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Okay, so I stand corrected. I didn't know that. But I know that she only has one, she only has one, and it's been viewed already like
11 million times.
Is it 11 million? Oh, because in the documentary that I watched, they said 7 million. But I guess people watched the documentary and then went to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was just like, que bonita, que joven, so cute, her whole life ahead of her. But I guess we could get into, because maybe some of our listeners are like me, that they know a little bit, but they don't know a lot. So I think maybe we could start talking about the timeline a little bit of how this all began.
Well, yeah, she met her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie.
Yeah. It was in like a July 2nd, I think. I see it here online. So July 2nd of 2021, Gabby Petito, 22, and her fiance, Brian, 23, embark on a cross-country van trip.
But they were only together for like a year prior to that.
Yeah, they were together for
maybe
a year.
Less.
I'm not sure. It might be a year.
Yeah.
Was she already living with him, and that's when she met the mom, and the mom was so weird? And
well, they were they weren't together for that long. Mm-hmm. And then
she moved in with
him in Florida.
Right.
Like she moved to his parents' house.
But they both said it was like love at first sight.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. It was like intense.
She didn't even call him her boyfriend. Like, according to her mom, they weren't in a relationship until she said to her mom, like, how do you feel about me moving to Florida with Brian?
Mm.
So then her mom was like, oh, so you guys are official.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, we've been dating. So it's not like they were together for a long time before that happened.
They were kids.
Yeah, they were young, in love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she moved to Florida to live with him and his parents.
The Laundries.
And I guess in the documentary, the parents were nice to her in the beginning, but then it got weird.
Right. Well, it got weird because the mom was weird.
Right.
The mom had this obsession with her son that I think is very unhealthy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's my understanding, the way I interpreted it, is that she was really mean to Gabby at some point in time, to the point where Gabby was like, I think I need to leave the house.
She was afraid to leave the room.
Wow.
At one point, like in the text messages, she was texting him, like, I don't know, I want to leave, but I don't want to come out of the room. And he's all like in the text message, I'm so embarrassed.
Right.
You know, I'm sorry. Just leave. Say bye.
He said that. I'm embarrassed she's treating you like that. Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
You know.
But and then eventually they decided to buy a van. So she can embark on her dream. She wanted that. She worked really hard. Yeah, travel.
To get that van.
Do cross country.
Yeah, so they can do the cross country trip.
So she got a job in
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
So she was doing 50 hours.
Yeah. She was working. Making her money for the van.
Yeah.
And they did, they put it together. And they went on their little trip.
But here's the thing, is it's like they were both extremely young. She's 21, he's 23. They're each other's worlds. And I guess she wanted to make friends. She goes on an app, makes a friend.
Bumble for Friends.
Meets a girl. They hit it off. They're like they're being young. That's what young people do. They're having fun. And he got, for lack of a better word, he didn't like it. He got jealous of that. So I think those were already kind of like the beginning of
subtle signs.
Like if you have a son or a daughter and their whole world is just their boyfriend and their girlfriend, and there's issues like, oh, you can't hang out with your friends, or that's already to me like a warning. Because
there was one scenario where I think they were going out and he stole her ID, so she wouldn't be able to get in the
that's right
the place they were getting into. She had to go back and grab her ID because he had taken it.
And so she was running late and she texted her friend, sorry, he stole my ID. She's like, I'm crying. She was upset about it, obviously.
But the friend that she made era más precavida, like estaba despierta. And she was like...
Well, she was also in an abusive relationship before she met her.
Right. Okay.
So she kind of picked up on a lot of the things.
Oh, yeah. She did. Which is ironic because Gabby was the one that was giving her advice on how to not be in that situation, but yet she was finding herself. It's fascinating to me how we can help others when they're in that situation, but when it's happening to us, we have blinders on.
Right.
Yeah. She was in love and she was in her moment.
Yeah.
So here's where I started to watch and really get intensely into the documentary was when that 911 phone call came in and said, hey, there's a public dispute and I saw him hit her or shove her or something along those lines. And he gave the license plate number, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. The police pulled them over. And then you just see everything playing out. And I just think to myself, those poor police officers, they were doing their job.
Right.
They were doing their job. They were following the law. They were doing everything that they could. They had no idea that something like this ultimately was going to happen. But I remember the police officer telling them both, you go to the hotel, you go in the van, stay apart, cool off. But they didn't. They got back together hours later.
Right.
And it's just like, well, why did they give him the room and not her? She's, you know what I'm saying?
Well, because according to her, she was the aggressor. She was blaming herself. She was taking the blame, and he was being very funny and fun with the officers. And, I hope she's not saying anything bad about me. And, I love her. Right. And I don't want her to get in trouble.
Didn't she already had like a redness in her eyes?
Marks. She had a mark on her face.
Right. She had a mark on her face, arms. But he also had marks on him.
Right.
Yeah.
He had scratches and his were fresh.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the police officer pointed out hers and, was like, oh, that looks like a fresh one. And she's like, oh, I don't know. She was very dismissive of anything that he could have done. She didn't want him to get in trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
And she was very anxious. And
I can't imagine. Like, I put myself in the like, I looked at Gabby at that part and I was like, what if that was my daughter? And I'm now watching this and it's just like all the things that why didn't you save like I'm sure you're a human being. Like, you may have even felt hatred and anger towards the police for not doing more, but you also have to understand that they're doing their job.
Right.
Yeah. Her parents, I believe they filed suit against the police department.
They did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were named.
Was that in the documentary? I don't recall that.
No, that was later. And I think they were actually named in the suit with this, like their own civil suit with the laundries. With the laundries. But
yeah,
I mean, they were doing what they were taught.
They were doing what they were trained to do.
And they had a conversation about it. Like,
it's complicated because many times things like this happen and you're like, well, why didn't they do this? Or why didn't they? But they have to follow the law, because then if they go by instinct and break the law, then it's like, well, you didn't follow the law. And then they get arrested and they go. How many cops go to jail because they didn't follow the rules?
Right.
It's just a double-edged sword.
It's heartbreaking. But to see her crying and it was heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And her blaming herself for everything. It was just so sad.
Yeah.
And then she called her mom.
Yeah.
And she obviously didn't give her mom the details.
No.
She was just crying to her mom, saying that they got into an argument. Her mom didn't know that there was police involved, and that the first time they see that video is when it was leaked on the news, when the news got it.
Yeah.
So, and then to see your daughter in such distress and you weren't there to help her. Oh,
yeah.
I feel about that.
So after that, they get together. Now the police separate them. A few hours later, they get back together. They get in the van and they proceed with their journey in the van.
Right. But then
he goes home for 5 days.
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
He left her in a hotel and he went home for 5 days. It was about 5 days.
Okay.
To clean out a storage. Before they left, he took his stuff out of his mom's parents' place and he put it in storage. So after that happened, he went back home to take the stuff out of storage, put it back in his parents' house to save money.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he left her. She was working on her editing. And that's when she posted that one video, their van life.
Wow.
Yeah. So, which is odd. Like, first of all, why did you get storage when you were leaving if you didn't need to?
So do you think there was something premeditated, you think?
I don't know. It was just weird.
I don't think that. I think it was a crime of passion. I have a feeling
I don't
caught
think
up
he
in the moment.
thought of killing her.
I don't think so.
I just found it strange that you
he's a
leave
strange
her by
guy.
herself, right?
He was a strange guy
for 5 days to clean out a storage for it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then
in that time she had contacted her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, she texted her ex-boyfriend, and then they spoke on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember that he said that he loved her, but that he also felt like it was so strange that she was reaching out to him.
Right.
Yeah.
And she had expressed some feelings of leaving, but there wasn't much detail. She didn't give him much detail, so I don't think he thought there was any danger there.
Right. Yeah, he didn't think anything.
So, it was weird, the whole thing. And then he comes back, then they go on
with their van life.
And it just, the whole thing was just so crazy to me.
Well, they were young. They were living in the moment, and they don't have they both didn't have the maturity to understand these complex emotions that people get when they're in these, they were living an unorthodox life too. I'm sure there was money problems. They were living in a van. They were probably having trouble even just taking showers and keeping themselves clean. You know, like that's a hard life.
Right.
And the tensions are high too.
And tensions are high, and you're
together.
broke, okay? And you don't have anywhere to go. It's not like I get into a fight with my husband and I'm like, I'm going to go to the next room over, or maybe I get in my car and I take a drive. And that's not their situation.
Right.
They're
And they
stuck in a
barely
little
knew
van.
each other.
And they barely knew each other.
They're in that enclosed little space.
That shit
together
gets
for so
heated. You get
long.
into a fight. You got nowhere to go. You're stuck with each other. They were too young, both of them, to understand the complexities of the situation that they found themselves in.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
I agree with that.
Ay, los pobres. So now they're continuing the van life. It's about like 10 days now. They're doing this for about 10 days since they had that separation from the police. Am I correct in saying that? The dispute that they had in Moab, Utah.
So that happened on the 12th.
That happened on the 12th.
For 5 days.
August 17th, he flew to Tampa.
Correct.
And then...
So it says here, August 25th, Gabby had... So let's do the time frame. So the dispute in Moab, Utah with the police was August 12th. Now it's August 25th. So that is approximately how many days, ladies? 12 days, roughly? 13 days? Okay. So it says here, August 25th, Gabby has her last known phone conversation with her mother, mentioning that they were traveling to Utah to Grand Teton and Yellowstone National Park. So that's the last time her mom spoke to her, was August 25th of 2021.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So at this point, how much time has actually gone by? Because there was some text messages that the mother received supposedly from Gabby.
Well,
no, it was after.
Yeah. On August 27th, they were sighted at a restaurant.
Where they would have been arguing.
They were arguing there. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. It says here, August 27th, a witness reports seeing the couple at Mary Piglet's Tex-Mex restaurant in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Okay, so now they're in Wyoming. August the 27th. Okay. So she was still alive August 27th. Got it. Okay.
Right. And then on the 30th is when her mom receives that weird text message
that she believes
calling her grandfather by his first
I remember
name,
that. Stan.
which she found odd because she never called him Stan.
She called him Grandpa.
But she just figured that she was driving, and so he was texting for her. That was the initial thought.
Yeah.
And I guess she had also gotten a message saying that there's no in that message, there's no service. He keeps calling. I can't answer. So she's assuming, okay, there's no service. I can't reach her.
Yeah.
She's
Okay.
not
Well, at
calling
this
me.
point, I'm probably going to jump ahead here, but clearly that's when he started getting coaching from his parents, because his parents must have been like, oh, do that shit to have an alibi. If you think about it, because I have a feeling that his mother is a complete and utter sociopath. I do. I don't care.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think she's a sociopath. I don't know so much about the dad, but that lady is a sociopath.
Yeah.
Okay. But I know I'm jumping ahead here, but it's like the way he was doing these text messages back and forth. It's like, trust me, his mom or his dad were already telling
they were
him
helping him
to get an alibi.
Yeah.
You know,
so all this time goes by and it's September 11th and his mom hasn't heard from either one.
Yeah.
So that's when she officially files a missing persons report.
Well, wait a minute. This is one thing I want to bring up to the listeners just in case they don't know, because I didn't know. I swear I didn't know any of this. So she's like, Gabby, please call me. Or Gabby, what's going on? You know, crickets, like nothing. Okay. So she sends a text message to the laundries. And they're like, hey, you know, this is Gabby's mom. Tiki. Have you heard from Gabby or Brian? I'm worried. Nothing. Okay. So then she sends another text message. Again, nothing. Then she reaches out to her ex-husband, which clearly they have a good relationship. I find that fascinating that they all loved this young girl. They were a family. They were a modern family that were, in my opinion, from what we were able to see, a healthy modern family. Yeah. Okay. So she calls her ex-husband and she's like, I can't get a hold of Gabby. This is the last time I talked to her, yada, yada, yada. So now he's like, yo, that's crazy. And then he reaches out to them and he's like, this is her father. Can you please let us know if you've heard from Brian or Gabby? We're worried. Taka. No response. So then at that point, he goes, I'm calling the police. He goes, listen, if if I was getting a text message like that, the bare minimum is say, hey, I haven't heard from them either.
Right.
I acknowledge
the text.
just acknowledge.
Yeah.
He goes, or if I'm getting a text message saying I'm calling the police, I'm gonna call. It's common human decency,
Right.
So to me, that's why I think they're sociopaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because who does that?
Yeah.
Who does that?
That
The laundries.
not even to say
No,
I
but-
haven't heard from them.
No,
I don't know.
I'm
Maritza,
completely
like,
there with you.
crazy.
even if for whatever reason you didn't like me or we didn't get along with it, but I'd be like, oh, Maritza, I don't know. I haven't,
Right.
God forbid, but I know I haven't seen your daughter. I haven't seen your son, something. So that to me, was like red flag.
Yeah.
Esta gente ya saben que esta chiquitica está muerta.
And I
Like,
think
they
at
know,
that point, that's when they decided.
know. They already know at that point that
yeah.
what had happened. You see, what had happened was, so they knew, and it's like they were heartless. They
And
were
then-
heartless.
So that was, she
Definitely.
reported her missing on September 11th, but come to find out, he went home September 1st.
Yeah.
He was home.
He was home. Well,
So,
the van was
wait,
at
wait,
the
wait.
house.
Wait.
He was home.
When they were getting these text messages, he was already in the house.
He was already
Shut the front door.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
He was already home.
I was making my low calorie dinner while I was watching that. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was doing two things at the same time. Sorry. Oh my God. If you're a listener and you didn't know that, thank you, Monica, because I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's why I know I'm jumping ahead, but that's why I don't understand how nothing happened to these people.
I know.
That's shocking.
It's shocking.
Unfortunately, they just don't have proof. It just comes down to that. There is
my
no
God.
solid proof.
When the parents finally had because the police were kind of like, well, tú sabes, we don't know yet. Like the police were dragging their feet. Why? I don't really remember why they were dragging their feet.
Well, because she's an adult,
Yeah,
so she can come and go as she pleases. It's not like a missing child,
correct.
right? She's an adult.
Right.
So she was calling everyone, parks, all the parks that they went to where she was supposed to be. My daughter's missing. I haven't heard from them. And everyone there's nothing we can do. Nothing we can do. You have to file here. No, you have to file here. No. So
Imagínate.
she was desperate. So she went to the police station in
This
New York.
poor woman. Oh my God.
She's like, I don't know what to do. I need help. My daughter is missing.
Well,
If
she
it
called
wasn't
the New
from
York police
them,
at that point.
well, she went there.
Oh,
Yeah, she went to the police station and she was like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. And finally they were like, okay. And they helped her. And they filed the missing persons and they called the police department in Florida because that's where she lived.
yeah.
That was her registered address. So then the police went to the house to follow up.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but when the police this is all documented. That's why
Right.
this is such a unique documentary because a lot of this is documented
Right.
through the cameras that the police
body
wear.
cam footage,
The
yeah.
body cam, correct. And we're seeing really what was happening. And her van is in the driveway.
Yeah, they show up there.
Her van is in the driveway. And I'm like, oh my God. And they knock on the door. And the first, excuse me, but I'm going to curse, trigger warning. The first fucking thing that they say is, we're not talking to you. We have an attorney. Bro.
Oh, and he's here.
He's
home.
here,
And
but he
he's
doesn't
here.
want to talk to you.
Listen.
Yeah.
He's not coming out to talk to
I
you.
would have been arrested for murder myself. Yo, aquí, Jasmine, I would have been, because that's not happening. That's not happening.
Yeah, that's my thought exactly.
That's not happening. I'm not going to be like, let's wait to see how this plays out. I'm going to be like, no. First of all, the fact that they already lawyered up, you killed my daughter.
Exactly.
Period.
And that's what the mom said. Like once she got that notification, when the cop told her the van is at the house
Jesus.
and he is there too.
Yeah.
And he's lawyered up. She says she instantly knew
Yeah. That's it.
that her daughter was gone.
Of course. Me
Yeah.
too. I already knew, like instantly, the cold, it was like, it was so cold blooded. It was a cold blooded reaction. There was no like, oh, let's be an actress and be like, oh, my son is here. We didn't know that Gabby was missing or even, it was just like, no, da-da-da, we're not talking. We're having a lawyer. Any questions you have, ask our lawyer, and close the door. Yeah, no.
Yeah. And then, and the cops were like, okay, well.
And they couldn't even search the van at that time.
Well,
no, they took the van.
They took the van that day?
They took the van that
I
night.
thought they had to come back for it.
No. They took the van that night because it's registered in her name.
Yeah, so the Florida cops got on the phone with the New York cops, which I love that part because you can see the difference between and the New York cops were like, well, no, the Florida cop was like, well, what is it that you want us to do? And I swear that lady from New York was like, do your job, bitch.
Yeah. She was like, that's suspect. That's suspicious.
Don't you think that's suspicious?
But it's true. It is suspicious, but there's no law broken.
Yeah.
Like there's no body that someone found in another state. There's nothing saying that, she's dead and he killed her. Like, it's just,
no, but it was shocking.
That we can do. Yeah,
their behavior was shocking. And there was one quote here that I read. I'm going to read it. It says, Christopher and Roberta Laundrie exhibited extreme and outrageous conduct, which constitutes behavior under the circumstances which goes beyond all possible bounds of decency and in regards as shocking, atrocious, and utterly intolerable in a civilized community. And I was like, that is the most beautiful, eloquent way to explain that they were the biggest pieces of shit on earth.
Right.
Perfectly said.
Perfectly said.
Yeah. That just, I don't not even, I don't get it. Like,
no, it's crazy. And her mom, Nicole Schmidt, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Schmidt. She had an interview in April this year with Taylor Lautner. He has a podcast called The Squeeze with his wife, and they interviewed her. And she said that prior to that interview, like a couple weeks prior to that interview, she just had found out that when that was going on, they had gutted out his bedroom. They got rid of all his shit and the van. And the mattress in the van has never been discovered yet.
But we skipped the timeline there.
We did, right?
Right.
It's okay. You know what? We're in the moment. It's okay.
That was when the cops, they took the van that night. So obviously,
they took the van. They took the van.
They cleaned out that van before.
So that van was already cleaned. See,
and the mattress was gone.
But see, when they went back, because after he got on the phone with New York police was like, listen, that van is only under her name. It's not for, because the father was saying it belongs to both of them.
Right.
So then the Florida cop went and he was like, no, it's not. It's hers. And we're taking it. And he's like, okay, take it. And he asked again, can we speak to Brian? And he's like, no.
Right.
And I'm like, I was just wondering, as a human being, not even as a mom, just as a human being, how can you not force someone to at least speak with you, knowing that this was the last person seen with a person that's missing now for almost how long at this point? It had been 3 weeks.
Yeah, I guess you could.
Roughly 3 weeks.
The last time they physically saw her was on the 27th.
That was a FaceTime call.
I find I find that shocking.
The text message?
That's the law. That's the law.
The restaurant. That was the last time
somebody
she was
that
physically alive.
Her, right.
But yeah, her mom was on the 25th was the last time she saw her face on a FaceTime call.
On a FaceTime call.
So, yeah.
Qué pena. Okay,
and so didn't they go on some kind of...
Right,
but then this time they go on a vacation or
they went camping.
They went camping.
The
Laundries. They went camping. Well,
they didn't go camping.
Dead in the ditch.
They didn't go camping. They went to make things disappear.
Right.
Make without a shadow.
Well, they were spotted in the park.
Yeah,
camping.
They made things disappear in that park without a shadow.
Get rid of evidence.
Yeah. Burning stuff, burying things, having alligators eat things. Who knows? I'm serious. There were so many crocodiles and alligators
say
there.
He was missing. When was that?
So now let's take it back. So now the van has been towed away by the police. What happens next?
The van is taken by the police, and I guess they take it into custody, and they're going to search the van.
September 6th, the Laundrie family goes to a campground about 75 miles away from their home in early September, according to county officials.
The whole family. His parents, his sister, her husband, their 2 kids, and him. They went camping. Yeah. let's go camping.
Yeah, who
She's
goes
missing.
Who goes? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it's so disgusting.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing. I don't even know what's the right word to use. Like, I want to drop so many F-bombs right now. It's like, if your girlfriend is missing and the parents is like, have a heart. Like, it's just the whole thing to me is like, they didn't care. They were in a mode that I cannot relate to.
Right.
Yeah.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
I mean,
my daughter asked me, she goes, Mommy, if it was the other way around, if it was me, Mom, and I did what Brian did, what would you? And I go, look, I'm gonna keep it real. If my daughter was in trouble, I'm gonna try and help my daughter. I'm gonna keep it real. But I also know my daughter. She's really sweet. She's kind, you know. And if something happened, I'd be like, that's so not like her. Like, let me get the
well,
fact.
hypothetically,
right?
Yeah.
But if I knew that my daughter had like some questionable behavior and he did, he was a weird guy,
Right?
But you're not going to consider that questionable if you yourself are fucking questionable.
Ding, ding, ding. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
So he was raised by a psychopath mother.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why he turned out that way.
Right.
Period. Because even my husband was like, babe, you know that's his mom. Maybe even the dad, but you could see it in the mom.
Right.
That's why he came out like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Crazy.
no parent, I'm telling you, no, in the beginning.
The letter, they found the letter that was written to him.
Yo, that
Yeah,
letter,
later on.
Did you see it?
we're jumping, bro. We're supposed to stay in the timeline.
Isn't that in the timeline at this point?
No. It's way after.
That's when
That
when the
letter is
FBI goes
wild.
Right,
and
when they find all
they
this
raid the
shit.
house.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That
Because
letter's wild.
then they go and they report him missing.
Right.
But wait
And
a minute.
that was
So they go camping.
September
and then
16th.
How did he
Sorry.
get missing? That's the part that I got
The last time
confused.
they had seen him or whatever was September 14th.
Right. So he left the house and he I guess he said, I'll be back, and he never came back. So September 16th, they reported him missing. But I guess someone called the police to do a wellness check. Like, oh, there's something wrong with that something happened to that kid or whatever.
But I think that's when the cops were disappointed. They're like, how the fuck did we let this guy get away? Like, how did we
They
let
were more embarrassed.
Yeah, they were embarrassed. Yeah, they fucked up.
Because how do you not do you have fucking protesters there?
Yeah.
In front of the house?
I know.
Reporters just
How is it that
camped out. How did nobody see him leave the house? That's what I
I'm
don't
saying,
get.
where's the reporter that you see in the movies that like, no, we're going to find out what the fuck is going on and we're going to follow these people.
Listen,
like, where's that reporter?
it's like,
Yeah.
Where were you?
and let's talk about the TikTok FBI, TikTok police.
Yeah.
Listen, nobody will solve a crime faster than the TikTok
Yeah.
police. Okay,
Yeah,
pero
that-
bueno.
yeah.
Okay.
So-
So now Brian's now officially missing. The police are embarrassed.
So now the FBI gets involved because now he's considered missing.
Right.
That's when they go into the house and they collect evidence to try and find him.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, they're saying, okay, now we have to focus on finding a body. We need a body
Right.
to be able to get him as a suspect, like to be able to find him, right?
Yeah.
So they go and they gather all their evidence, whatever was left, because apparently they got rid of everything.
Right. But remember, he got picked up a couple of times. So I think that they used that also for the timeline. He got
No,
picked
but
up by
we're
a
talking
couple.
about the F.
No, to find the body is what I'm
Right,
trying
to find the body. Well,
I'm sure they used those.
so the
little
FBI,
locations.
that's when they went to go to get something for the dogs to grab his scent, and they didn't have anything because they
Right.
destroyed or whatever. They gutted out the
They got it out the
bedroom,
room.
which we come to find out in the podcast with her mom.
Right.
But
Which she just found out.
right, like a month ago, which is insane.
Yeah, which is crazy.
So they're focused now on finding a body. So then they have FBI go out to Wyoming.
Mhm.
They're working over there. They're doing a search. They're trying to search the area.
For 37 days, they're looking for Brian.
They don't. Well, they're looking for him, but they're also looking for her.
her.
Yes, but I remember because
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a minute, but you understand, like cops and volunteers
Right.
Mhm.
were looking for Brian
Mhm.
for 37 days. And to our listeners, you'll see why I'm making a big deal about that.
Yeah.
Right.
So then they had the timelines cross, I guess, because they were going by cell phone towers. So their timelines were a little off. They're going by the information that they're gathering from, I don't know who at this point, because he wasn't talking and he's missing. So they're, because you have other nomads that are out there living these van life and
unique life. Yeah.
Yeah. So people are checking their footage to see if they see anything. And no, they don't because they had the timelines wrong. Then somebody on social media, TikTok, she posts, I picked this guy up on this day.
Right.
From this area. So it's like, okay, wait, we got something. So now they're searching that area with the cell phone towers.
Mm-hmm.
So like, okay, his cell phone was in this area. And then somebody else came, the lady that picked him up from a different area.
Right.
And brought him to the campsite, the entrance.
The entrance.
And dropped him off.
Mm-hmm.
So she let them know, okay, this is the date and time I picked him up and I dropped him off here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now they have a new area of where they can search. And then, so it's also a new timeline. So now that message goes out to all the nomads. And then people start looking at their video. And one lady spots the van that she caught on her video. And she posted on social media. And now the FBI goes to that spot and they're like, okay, this is it. This is where the van was. The tracks are there. And that's where they do the search and they find her body.
Pobrecita.
Right.
Yeah.
She had been there like at least 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah. And he's out camping with his family.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's lying dead in a ditch and he's fucking camping with his family.
I remember in the documentary when they reached out to her stepfather, Gabby's stepfather. And they told him.
Because he was in Wyoming at the time.
Yes. And they were like, we're going to show you some pictures. And he's like, I just need to be sure that it's her.
Before I make
that part of the documentary, I started crying.
Me too.
It was just watching the stepdad and he was like, it was our Gabby. It was our baby.
Yeah.
Because he was in her life when she was a baby. So he saw her as her daughter. I have stepchildren. You have stepchildren. And I know you love your stepchildren.
Oh, yeah.
I love my stepchildren. My stepchildren have grandchildren. And I feel like those are my grandkids.
Same. Yeah.
And God forbid. And he says, I saw her blonde hair coming out of her hoodie. And I just started wailing and collapsed on the floor. And I just instantly started crying because I started thinking about what if,
right.
all the things that run through your mind. And it is the coldness of those people that that this family's suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And you go camping.
Yeah. You go camping.
And you go camping.
Yeah. Yeah,
I can't even.
Yeah. I remember also that the police now were a little empowered because they were able to tell that he wired himself $700 from Gabby's account, which empowered them with being able to go against him now through the federal law.
Right.
I remember that part. And that's how they were able to get more power to really go after him and say, now we can put the full extent of the law because he's a federal fugitive, But at that point, he was already missing and everyone's looking for him. It's been 37 days. Also, it was raining a lot. So that whole park area was very flooded. On day 37, the park is now open to the public. This is the part that I'm like, how did these people get away with it? Okay. On the 37th day, to our listeners, if you're still here and haven't given up on us, it's just shocking to me. The parents get in their car, they drive to the park, and they start looking for their son. Within an hour, they know
exactly where to go.
His backpack. Within 3 or 4 hours, they find his body.
Or his remains.
His remains, which were completely and utterly decomposed to the bone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They found him in a matter of 6-7 hours tops. Okay. in one day. Mind you, the full extent of the law and volunteers for 37 days were not able to find him, but his parents found them in one day. Okay, those people are so guilty. And how are they free?
Yeah, I don't know.
I struggle with that because I know they're following the law, but it is such a grotesque, blatant. It's so blatant that they were involved.
Right.
Yeah. They knew something.
They knew something.
And they didn't help, which is crazy because supposedly your son is missing, right? Yeah, he's a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit, but that's your son and you want to find him, right? You love your son to the death. You'll bury a body for him. You'll do all these things for your son. He goes missing, but you don't seem to think it's valid to be like, he likes to be in this area. Mind you, and you went to go pick up your car that had been sitting there for weeks or whatever, getting tickets. So you go get the car. So you know he's there. And instead of saying, okay, he likes this park and this is where he usually goes,
they withhold it.
They withhold it.
Information.
So here's the question that I've been dying to ask you both. I've been waiting to ask you this because I really want to get your personal opinion. Do you think they knew that their son was going to commit suicide? Do you think that the parents knew that their son was already dead?
Did he commit suicide?
Yes, the autopsy was able to determine that there was a
I listened to this
gunshot.
podcast and mom seems to think that
they killed him.
What?
Yeah. Gabby's mom doesn't believe that he committed suicide. She believes he's dead. She believes that those were his remains found because
DNA
and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't believe that he killed himself.
What are you talking about? wait.
Which is crazy.
Crazy.
Where did
That's
you
what she said.
That wasn't in the documentary.
No, it's in
she
the
was on a
podcast.
podcast with Taylor
Squeeze.
Lautner and his
The guy
wife.
from Twilight.
Yes, he has a podcast with his wife.
Okay.
And she said it on there in April.
Shut up. What did she say?
Just that. She said she doesn't believe that he committed suicide. She goes, in my opinion, the parents killed him.
I'm shook.
Which kind of makes sense if you
they didn't even cry.
They didn't cry.
No.
They didn't tell them that
They didn't get involved.
Now she says that.
What do you mean?
When I hear that, now I'm like, okay, that's why they never told the cops where
he was.
they thought he was.
Where they thought he was. That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you know Florida and you know the weather and you're going to get the rain, it's going to get flooded. It's going to be impossible to find him.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So after she said that, I was like,
So now I'm asking because this is the first time I'm hearing this. So I'm a little like, you guys should see my face to the listener. I have una cara tan tonta right now. I'm like, oh my God. What's the motive to kill the son?
I don't know.
I mean, there's people saying that he's still alive.
Yeah, people still believe
he's
alive with Tupac on an island somewhere.
Yeah. Maybe they
No, I mean, DNA is strong evidence.
Right.
DNA is strong evidence.
Yeah. I don't know. She seems to think, because I think in his letter that he wrote or whatever in the notebook, he was so, he still doesn't think he did anything wrong, right? At this point, he's writing this note basically saying he did her a favor.
Right.
Because she was already dying and she was in a lot of pain and she was hurting. So he took her life so that she wouldn't be in pain anymore because he loved her so much. You know what I mean? Like, so he really didn't feel like there was anything to be remorseful for.
Right.
Right. And the letter stating, let me do it. I'm going to kill myself so that her family doesn't do it and they get in trouble. It was just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do remember the documentary. Mind you, I didn't know any of this because this is a completely different thing. But I do remember the burn letter.
Right.
Which I'm assuming that's
From the mom.
From the mom, yes. And I have here some parts of the letter, and it says, if you need to dispose of a body, I will show up with a shovel and garbage bags.
Mm-hmm.
That was in the burn letter that Roberta Laundrie sent to her son.
Gave her son.
She gave
okay.
Yeah. Also, in that, and the reason why it's called the burn letter is because there were specific instructions on the envelope that said, burn after reading, which clearly it was not burnt.
Right.
However, what's the word I'm looking for here? The conspiracy is that it was never supposed to be burned because in that letter, they say, my parents have nothing to do with this. Something along those lines. So I don't really remember exactly what letter it was, but I believe it was a letter that was found in his backpack. And it was a letter that Brian had handwritten about what actually had happened and how Gabby supposedly really died, which is extremely controversial. And also the police and autopsy have been able to say, no, that's not what happened. She was strangled. So debunked. Okay. But in that letter that supposedly Brian wrote, he indicates, my parents have nothing to do with this. So I remember Gabby's mom crying in the documentary. That's towards the end of the documentary. And she's like, his mom wrote that. Mm-hmm. She said it. I remember she says, that's how you know that they're psychopaths, because they were still, even after their own son's death, were looking out for themselves.
Right.
I remember that in the documentary. And that's why I felt like, no, how have these people gotten away with it? How are they not, doing any type of jail time? Because I feel like there was so much criminal activity on their end after the fact. I don't think that they had anything to do with her actual death and what transpired. I don't think they had anything to do with that. But after the fact, what they did is just...
Well, they didn't help. I mean,
they covered up
everything.
Yeah, they took it too far.
Yeah,
and it was just awful.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you would say, destroyed evidence, right? Because they gutted out his room. Mm-hmm. They got rid of all his stuff. I mean, it was, yeah. How do you not get in trouble for that?
Right.
Tampering.
I don't know.
Right, exactly. Yeah, if you're tampering with evidence at that point. But it's like Maritza said, you have to be able to prove it.
Right.
And but here's the thing. It's like, okay, but that's why
it's clear.
It's clear.
Don't get me wrong.
It's clear.
But I guess that's how they work. You know what I mean? Like you have to have solid proof.
Yeah.
The whole documentary is hearsay.
Yeah. Everything is hearsay, except for the text messages.
Obviously for the letters and the text messages.
Well, the $700 that he wired was
he used her card. He used her card.
Crime.
Right.
He Zelled himself money from her account.
He did.
All these transactions were done after the fact that she was already dead.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they can point that at him, and they can pinpoint that and get him for that.
To him, but he's not here.
Right.
I'm still trying to process what you both told me about the Tyler podcast.
Yeah.
And that, the parents off their own son. I mean, I can't believe, I'm still
well, that's her opinion.
That's her opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, if there's a reason why she thinks that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was to save themselves or to help him. I don't know how they could think that, maybe it's what he wanted, he couldn't do it himself and they did it. I don't know. It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Crazy and sad.
No, it's crazy. It's sad. And it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to.
You get no answers.
No.
There's
a lot of unanswered questions.
But you know what? It's the loss of 2 lives.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's the loss of 2 young lives that put themselves in a very adult situation that they were not prepared for. They glamorize the life on social media of like, we're smiling, we're happy, we're in love, we're sightseeing, we're backpacking, like backpackers, right? But this was in a van. and they glamorize it, and they're showing on Instagram and on YouTube. I don't know about TikTok, but they were showing all these things, and that's not real. What was really happening is they were broke, they were fighting, she or him were both in toxic. It was a toxic yeah. It was like borderline like control and manipulation, guilt tripping, gaslighting, silent treatment, and then boom, love bombing. Boom. The minute like you love bomb when somebody punches you in the face. You know what I mean?
If you have, to me, if you, anybody that has a daughter, doesn't matter what age they are, I would recommend having them watch this documentary because it's very eye-opening. You know, there are things that people may think are not a red flag, and this documentary shows what would be considered a red flag. Because, you know, they posted their life on social media and everything was rainbows and sunshine. Right. Nobody saw the backside of it. But in the documentary, her raw footage, unedited footage, it shows, you know, when he's getting annoyed or rolling his eyes and, you know, all this stuff. Right. All his reactions that are, okay, no, he's not Mr. Perfect and Mr. Lovey-dovey. He has a side and she did annoy him or whatever. He was annoyed by her. Yeah. So, you know, those are things that I think were very eye-opening. The mom.
Yeah, it's very eye-opening.
Her mom said that she had those videos. Right. And she didn't really go through it. She sent it to the producers or whatever because she didn't really want to go through all that because she didn't want to see the stuff with him. And she never saw that until the documentary. Right. The one with him and his rolling his eyes and, you know, she's like, I didn't see that until that. Yeah. And that, you know, cringed. But of course, it's a very good documentary, I think, for young women to watch.
Yeah. My daughter saw it. Well, you know, I told you ladies, we watched it together as a family because I really didn't know that much. I really didn't. And I told my family, I'm sorry, you guys, I have to take the family to TV for a little while. It was like 4:00 in the afternoon. Everybody was coming home from work and all this stuff. And I was like kind of cooking dinner at the same time. And then everyone's eating and I put it on and we were glued. The whole family was glued. And both of my daughters were like, I guess because they could see themselves in regards to the youth, right? The same age. And I had a little talk with one of my daughters in particular. And I told her, look, you know, I know you're young, but these are signs, little red flags of control and manipulation. And we had a deep conversation as mother and daughter for 10 minutes about this. So I think it's a good documentary for mothers to watch, not just with their daughters, but with their sons too. Yeah. Because it's not just a gender thing. There are some young men who are in very toxic relationships with certain young ladies, and there are always signs.
It goes both ways.
It goes both ways. You know, another thing I saw in the documentary that was towards the end that really was eye-opening to me was that how many cases like this happen and not get any coverage, right? You know, but I could see why certain communities, the Latino community, the African American community, and the Native American community were like, you know, Gabby Petito, 21, young, blonde and blue eyes, national news. What about us? You know? And I remember watching a movie with Jeremy Renner many years ago. It was called Wild River. It was about how many Native American women disappear every year through extreme violence, are murdered, they disappear, deeply abused. It's a huge problem in the Native American community. Yeah. And it was just kind of like, I'm sorry that happened to Gabby. I'm sorry that this happened. But there are so many women, young women, that don't look like Gabby. And they don't get any
national
news. It's something to think about.
Yeah, for sure. And the Gabby Petito Foundation that her family started, they're, you know, there's resources on there for people.
GabbyPetitoFoundation.org.
Yeah, to get information, help. But they also are going to put together everyone that's missing. Like anyone that's been reported missing, they want to highlight them as well.
Right.
On their website. But
she's doing a lot.
Yeah.
She's doing a lot.
Yeah. She's doing amazing work.
They're going around and they're trying, and I agree with her. This is something that should be discussed in high school.
Right.
Kids should be,
kind of
have a course on not like per se domestic violence, but healthy relationships.
Listen,
what a healthy relationship looks like.
2 classes is enough. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. It could just be a couple classes. My daughter
had a class that they spoke about. I can't remember. It had to do with something like that, like healthy relationships.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't know. I want to say, was it in middle school? I want to say it was in middle school, because I remember her coming home and talking to me about certain things that they were talking to them. It was something that they were trying out. It was not something that they were incorporating into the curriculum or anything. But
I know she said that they highlight a lot lot about bullying.
Yeah, it was bullying and how to treat people.
And you can consider that in the same circle.
Also how to react to certain situations. It was just a bunch of stuff. I was really impressed by her reaction and her answer.
But these things are really helpful, because I'm not trying to be funny. I know what I'm going to say is going to sound funny, but it's not. But they even do this in the NFL, because these young men are transitioning sometimes from high school or straight out from college, and they go into the NFL, and now they're getting like a staggering amount of money because they've been signed to, for example, the Miami Dolphins. They're young and they have a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And now you have professional women who go after these young men and will get pregnant on purpose and try and get these guys for life. And they have courses in the NFL for these people of how to avoid this happening to you. I saw this in the 30 for 30 or like, I was watching. I was like,
they should definitely have
I think these, I know I changed the subject a little, but what I'm trying to say is like these things help. Yeah. Talking about these things help. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
Because she actually her mom goes around, Gabby Petito's mom, Nikki, right? Nikki Schmidt. She goes around for the foundation and she has talks. And she said she spoke to students and, they were going over things and there's some stuff that they would never consider to be considered wrong or a red flag, a warning sign.
Well, they're young.
And she had a 15, I think she said 15 or 16-year-old young boy ask her, how do I know if I'm the abuser? Like, how would I know that I am an abuser? Mm-hmm. She's opening up the conversation. Yeah. To say, okay, this behavior, if you see yourself doing these things, maybe talk to someone. Right. Nip it in the butt now kind of thing. Which is because, a lot of people grow up in these houses and in homes that are toxic or whatever. And it's just, they think it's a mechanism they think is normal.
Right. They continue with the pattern. Right. What they were brought up with.
So if you can what they see. Spot that, okay, maybe that is wrong. Maybe I shouldn't talk to girls like that. Absolutely. Or, right. I think it's so eye-opening and kids should be learning that.
They should be. I agree.
It is. I know. And it's never too late to have growth and to change and to be better, because I grew up yelling a lot because there was a lot of yelling and anger in my home. Right. So I inadvertently was very aggressive in certain situations, right? So now I'm in my relationship with my husband and he would be like, wow, you're really a lot, like you're aggressive. And I didn't get it until it took a while for me to realize the way I say things, the way I communicate things, how I overreact. Like I need help.
Or you're like on the defensive all the time.
I'm always, yeah. No, I'm being,
I get
I'm being honest here because I realized, oh my God, I'm a very toxic girlfriend. Like I realized it's not him. It's me. Right. I'm a toxic bitch, Right. And I needed help. And I went to therapy. I researched things online, how to cool off, how to realize this is such a silly thing that you should not even be getting a little bit upset for. Like this is nothing, and it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed to admit this on a podcast, but it's also the truth. Right. And I've grown from that, you know? So it's never too late to take, even within yourself, ask yourself, am I aggressive? Am I passive aggressive? Am I toxic? How do I speak to people? And say no, work on yourself too.
Right.
Yeah, I read a comment. It was a male. He was a man. I think he was married for like 20 years. And he said he watched the documentary, and he also recommended all young male, females, whoever, to watch it too. He kind of saw himself in Brian Laundrie, and he had those characteristics, and he felt really bad for her because he realized that early on, and he chose to get help, to, therapy, to figure out what was wrong and why it was happening. And now he's in a 20-year marriage, healthy relationship. He supports his wife. He's like, so he made a point to say, if you watch this documentary and in any way you feel, oh, I do that, or that might be, take the extra steps to figure out why and get the help you need.
Right.
You know what I learned?
That's beautiful.
You know what I learned? And I think it's important. It's like when you are mature enough to understand that there's something toxic about you and you want to acknowledge it and fix it and make it better, that is such a beautiful thing. That is growth, internal growth. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's the opposite. You should wake up in the morning the next day and be like, I'm so proud of myself that I'm heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I do.
So I really enjoyed this podcast. I hope you guys are still here. I mean, I know we kind of talked a little bit about everything, the timeline and red warning signs, but at the end of the day, it was tragic to lose 2 lives so sensibly. What's the word? Senselessly. Whatever. I can't say that word right now.
Yeah.
But
unless I want to close by saying Gabby Petito's life was more than her final days. She was a creative soul who loved the outdoors, people, and art. Her story is a stark reminder to look deeper than what's shown on screens and to check in on loved ones, even those who seem perfectly happy.
Right.
Because it's never perfect.
It's never.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And if you find yourself in a situation where you think you need help, the Gabby Petito Foundation, they have resources. Also, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. And if we'll link those things in the show notes as well.
You can also visit the hotline.org, and all the calls are toll-free and confidential.
Yeah.
The hotline is available 24/7 in more than 170 languages. If you or someone you know is considering suicide, please contact the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988 text STRENGTH to the crisis text line at 741-741, or go to 988lifeline.org.
Thank you so much for listening to our show. We appreciate you being here. And
hasta la próxima.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to subscribe to our show so you don't miss an episode.
We will be dropping an episode every 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. No, like seriously. Subscribe now.
So just chill to the next episode. Follow us on Insta and TikTok.
Hasta la próxima.